doors open, kids find a safe space. That three gaming doc fights the grind each day. From the joystick low to the streets ballet. She's the voice that echoes the restless hum. Hardcore hero where the city drums. She drove out of Cali where the sun went red. Found a home where chaos and dreams are bred. The city roars but her wheels still roll. Streaming at night with a fierce heart soul. That three gaming doc fights the grind each day. From the joystick low to the streets ballet. She's the voice that echoes the restless hum. Hardcore hero where the city drums. They laugh, they cheer when her streams go live. Green glow shining, she makes them thrive. Kids in the morning don't see her night. She hides battles fought by screens, strange light. Driving their futures down bustling streets, filling small lives with the simple beats. She carries their dreams while chasing her own. Walking roads never leave her alone. She drove out of Cali where the sun went red. Found a home where chaos and dreams are bred. The city roars but her wheels still roll. Streaming at night with her fierce heart soul. They laugh, they cheer when her streams go live. Green glow shining, she makes them thrive. Kids in the morning don't see her night. She hides battles fought by screens, strange light. Driving their futures down bustling streets, filling small lives with the simple beats. She carries their dreams while chasing her own. Winding roads never leave her alone.
Well, greetings, gamers. Why is my camera tilted up? Tilted down. Perfect. Anyway, greetings, gamers. This is Dr. Eileen, the Gaming Doc, and this is your place and your space to laugh, to chat, to chill, to hang out, to take a moment, to take a break, to take a breath, and realize that I have 1 week and 1 day left to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, at least for a little while. And honestly, I'm kind of looking forward to that just a little bit. Although for like the first week, I still get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, but then I know that I can just go back to sleep. And soon I will be back driving, so it's like the week, what is it, September 7th, I think? Hold on, let me check. August, September. Okay, so yeah, I think the 7th is the first day of school. I will have to confirm that, but oh my goodness gracious, and it's weird because in some ways the summer has actually been a bit more draining than any other part and or than my regular route, which fingers, eyes, and toes crossed, I get my regular route back. Anyway, coming in, we have our first 3 champions, our Olympians who made it across the gate first, coming in for the gold, my absolutely favorite foliage, who usually comes in with the 4 fabulous floating flying fish, Fruity Leaves. Coming in for the silver, my absolutely favorite Mother Truckin' Mother, Madam Sarcasm. And coming in for the bronze, who brings the 411 on all things interesting, Mr. Harmless. Champions, please take your places on your risers, wrap yourselves in your national flags as we play your national anthems. Anyway, so I'm watching The Pit for some reason. Morning, y'all. Morning. Yo. I have to look away every time there's blood or they put a needle in. The Pit. Oh, that's the like, the next generation of the old show with George Clooney and what was it? Oh, the guy he's redoing his role, Noah something, I think. And oh gosh, I'm trying to remember. It wasn't Saint Elsewhere. It was oh, okay, hold on. I gotta Google that. Doctor series with George Clooney. And that was ER. ER. That was the thing. Okay. I couldn't remember who it was, and I knew George Clooney was probably the most famous person in it. Let's see. Wow, y'all go back almost a month after we do. Ah. Now, do you get out a month earlier though? I know watching a medical show is good exposure for me. That is tremendously true. And, and the thing is, it's about desensitizing. Let's see. Watch streak 10. Yay! Was that St. Elsewhere? I remembered St. Elsewhere. It's like, nope, it was ER. I'm on like the second episode and I've gotten nauseous like thrice already. Oh, that's okay, sweetie. You'll do all right. I have a song for you. Cool. But yeah, I remember when, and it was what, Noah Wiley or Riley. Let's see. ER characters. Let's see. Mark Green, Anthony Edwards did an amazing job as Dr. Green. Let's see. Let's see. The nurses. Noah Wiley. The actor's name is John Carter, which I was always watching the old ER series, and let's see, when did that happen? Hold on. ER. When was ER? Hold on. Whoop. When was ER? Okay, 1994 it premiered. And it ran until 2009 for 331 total episodes. I almost just spilled. See, I got brave and arrogant, and it's like, okay, we're just going to use a cup. I don't need a sippy cup. I don't need something with a lid. And doggone it, I almost just spilled it again. But I didn't. I didn't spill it. They go August 13th to May 31st. Really? Okay. So you get out in May, and our kids don't get out until like near the end of it. In fact, they went until June 26th. So yeah, don't watch Hacksaw Ridge. 30 years ago. Oh my gosh. I Madam Sarcasm, you have like disrupted my mental capacities. Was it 30 years? Oh my god. I remember watching that show, and now they're all older. And 30 years, and it's like, also John Carter, very impressed that, because a lot of people would not want to go back into a role, and because they end up getting typecast. But I'm glad that they had him come back, because it's like that bridge in between the two. I don't know what that is, but probably won't. Yep, it is it is a military war type of thing, and there's a lot of stuff there that probably wouldn't settle well with you. But, it is, man, 30 years. Oh my gosh. Where does the time go? Oh man, I, I'm kind of having a moment here, and I had to put it in all caps. Oh my gosh, 30 years. Wow, wow. I mean, technically, what, 32 years was when it started? Oh my gosh. Or no, 30, 20, 28 years. 28 years. No, 30. Math. Forget Englishing math. Anyway, it was a long time ago. And now, for those of you who are youngins, believe me, this will catch up with you because when you're all old, um, when you're old, you will have people bringing up stuff and it's like, oh wow, yeah, there was this show, and they'll be talking about the shows that are out now. I mean, it's like, oh, remember when The Pit came out? And it'll be like 30 years from now that, it's like, oh wow, yeah. 32 years. Thank you, Madam Sarcasm. I am just like, maybe I'm just not getting enough sleep. Have I mean, it's weird because I tell myself it's like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed at like 7, because usually I get home. Last night I got home early because I ended up getting a ride from one of the other drivers. But usually I get home about 6:30, and then I have to go to bed by 7 to be up by 3 and still get a decent night's sleep. But I just cannot totally fall asleep or I'll wake up again because it's still light outside. That is rough. Have you ever tried to, like go to sleep when it's still light outside? It is very difficult. It's a war movie about Army medic Desmond Doss, who single-handed saved like 78 men at Hacksaw Ridge in 1940 something. I keep using my phone as a blocker every time they cut someone up, which I'm doing right now. Yes. It's like, just fast forward past those parts. I mean, Fruity Leaves, I do the same thing, like, because the show Walking Dead, the character development, I really loved the character development and all of that and the story behind it. I mean, Walking Dead would be so much more comfortable to me if it actually didn't have any zombies in it. Or maybe you only saw zombies from a distance. Or if something bad was happening, it happened off camera and you only heard noise. But no, they have the zombies all up in your grill. And yeah. But no, I feel the same way about that. Oh my goodness! Coming in from the distant seas, Captain Firebeard himself, Fire Nutter 589. Okay, Fire Nutter, I wanted to ask, what is the significance of 589? Because it occurred to me, it's like, well, it's Fire Nutter 589, but what's the 589 for? That was percolating in my brain, and I was wondering about that. So if you can clear that up, it'll give me one less thing to keep me awake at night. Kidding! Sort of. Anyway. And yes, I do have an uncovered cup. And yes, I did almost spill it once already during the stream. Oh! May 8th, 1992. Ah. Okay, that makes total sense. Doss is a real person, Doc. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if they made a movie based on him, and I thought I remember hearing something about that. That was a it was like well, like Saving Private Ryan, which was a true story. Oh, Bloodella 95 coming in the house. Bloodella, our scion of scouting. Oh my goodness. It is. And how are you enjoying RV There Yet? I don't even totally know what that is, but you had me at RV. RV There Yet. RV There Yet. It's a game. Master the physics-based winch and earn the right to be the main remote commander. Oh. So, okay. So it's I'm guessing it's a Steam game? Steam game. Uh Called RV There. Is a co-op. Here, we'll show it. Oh my gosh, why is it that it doesn't let me show things? Window capture. There. Okay, so RV There Yet is a co-op adventure game where players navigate through the challenges of Maboots Valley while trying to reach Route 65. Available on stream for $7.99 with a 10% discount until October 28th, 2025. Okay. Because I am intrigued. Oh no, it's still $7.99. And you can get the soundtrack for an additional $2. Oh my gosh. Not everyone who entered Maboots Valley makes it out alive, so be sure to keep a steady flow of burgers, antidotes, and the classic EpiPens. Oh my goodness, that actually looks very fun. That actually looks hecka fun. I mean, and goodness knows, when you get a game that is reasonably priced. Last night was the Hillary Duff concert. How was it? Do we have pictures in the Discord? Oh my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. Oh, we have. Oh, and there is Ren, the Tale of Jenny and Screech official video. From Dougie, aka Mr. Harmless. And yeah, you can definitely go check that out. Thank you for sharing. Let's see. They actually didn't show everything he did. The dictator didn't think people would believe it, so they cut some of it. Or probably the director didn't think people would believe it. I posted some photos for you. My boot sounds like dangerously like saying my butts. Salute! Yes! And coming in, my absolute eagle of iron. Iron Eagle. Nice! Okay, let's see. Selfies. Oh my goodness. We talked about brownies the other day. Oh my gosh. Hold on. Oh, Brownie Troop 709. Oh my goodness. Oh, brownies. Oh, that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh, can I remember the brownie song? There's something in my pocket that belongs across my face. I keep it very close at hand in a most convenient place. I'm sure you wouldn't guess it if you guessed a long, long while. So I'll take it out and I'll put it on. It's a great big brownie smile. Yes, I remembered it. Oh my gosh, I don't always know where my glasses or my phone is. That is so cute. Oh my gosh. Those were the days. This was from our view of the original seats last night. Oh, so you were there while setup was happening? That is so cool. Then a lady walked up to us as we were just sitting there minding our own business and asked if we wanted seat upgrades. Oh, yay! I'm telling you, sometimes you're just sitting there and amazing things happen. Oh my goodness. Oh, that is crazy cool. Let's see. Salut, Kava, or Seva. It's in selfies and surrounds out with typing in French. Oui, oui. Oh my gosh. I'm thinking about learning Creole because, well, it was something that my dad used to speak, but Creole and French are kind of, I mean, basically, if you understand French, you can kind of sort of understand Creole. Um, it's there's a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of kind of dialect sort of differences. Hi, Vionetter. Hello. There's some more. There, but wait, there's more. The merch I got last night. I don't normally buy hoodies from concerts, but I really wanted this one. Also, before I made the decision, I made sure it wasn't on her online merch store. Oh my goodness. Hillary Duff has just grown up. The Lucky Me tour. Oh my gosh. Duff! As in Duff beer. Wow. That is, I mean, gosh, back in the day when she first started up, it feels like it was, I mean, what has it been? 20 years? 25 years since she started off? Shakira, Shakira! Oh, Dee, 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 dee. I think of the song, but I don't know the words. But Shakira, Shakira, I know that part. And hello, 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 my dear. How are you? What is up? What's the buzz? Tell me what's a happening. Are you having fun? Is it a good day? I hope so. I hope everybody is having a good day filled with good vibes and good thoughts. And sometimes, well, sometimes we need the heavy thoughts, sometimes we need the challenging thoughts because it reminds us that we're not helpless. That, those thoughts can be scary, those thoughts can be tough, and those thoughts can tell us stories that aren't true. Stories like we're not good enough, or stories like this is beyond my ability to handle, which are not true at all. You can do this. You've got this. You are amazing. And you have overcome 100% of everything you've ever faced. If you're here, you have. And when you think about those moments that you honestly didn't know how you were going to make it through, what you were going to do, how scared you were, because we've all had them. I've had a lot of them, where in that moment, there were no answers. And it was just like, I can't do this. But every single one of those moments is a memory now. And you proved without a shadow of a doubt that there's nothing that is stronger than you or beyond your ability to handle. It just feels like it for about that long, maybe about that long, sometimes about that long. Let's see. Japanese soldier said his gun kept jamming while trying to kill Das, and Das said he was praying the whole time, please, Lord, help me get one more. Yeah, I remember seeing the promotion for that. Be right back. Gonna check if the washing machine is free, and if someone's wash is still in there, I might decide to be evil. You know what? There's absolutely nothing wrong if somebody is hogging a machine. You take it out, you put it on top. Hi, hope you're doing well. I am doing awesome and even a little bit better now that you're here. Hi, Shakira. Hello. It's almost Friday. It is Thursday, which I refer to Thursday as Friday Eve. And I have an additional rehearsal tonight, which means that I will be getting even less sleep, which is yay. But, when you're in a production, sometimes you got to do the weeknight rehearsals. So, I'll be taking the bus over to the rehearsal place right after work and doing my thing there and then heading home after that. I mean, it's not like, I think it's like from the house it's like a 20-minute bus ride. And hopefully it will not be raining. Is it raining where y'all are? Because we've had it's like sprinkly on and off. Fingers crossed it doesn't go into that epic thunderstorm and hail and all that kind of where the sky just opens up. Hopefully, it will not, but I will be at a rehearsal tonight, and I do like it. It's, kind of acting has been something that I've gotten so passionate about, and I enjoy it. I love it. I love, becoming somebody else. And in acting, it's not just about pretending to be someone else. It's about, you have a role and you have to find that character within yourself. It's already in there, whether it's a really good character or a not so good character. We have to find that within ourselves because it has to be real. I'm very proud of 13 Baby Bear 13. She made it through about 90% of the concert before she had an anxiety panic attack. She made it through 90%. Good for her. She made it to 3 songs before she ended the show. We got her to the steps, sat her down to get her back centered. We finished the concert from the steps, just watching her on the screen. She was being broadcast. That is so cool. That is very, very cool, Bladella. And I know that that support was just everything she needed to be able to walk away from this experience and realize, okay, I made it this far, as opposed to going, oh, I had an episode. But the thing is, how far, and I love how you bring that up, is she was able to make it through 90%, which is amazing for someone who deals with anxiety. Let's see. Had you thought of doing more collabs to grow your acting career? Well, I mean, for right now, probably not. But, I mean, hey, doorway's always open for that. And that's a good question. And, it's just like with the schedule I have right now and the schedule that I usually have during the year, because, once I go back to the other route, I won't have the same time in the middle of the day off. So I'm hoping that I'll still be able to do the midday power hour, but that's going to depend on, if I end up with a different route, because even the route I had before, I wasn't really able to get back to the house. I mean, there were some days that I wasn't able to get back to the house at all during lunch. So, but we'll see. We'll see. I find it pretty fascinating. Back during World War II, most people didn't want to fight until Pearl Harbor. And not only that, but most of the war heroes followed Jesus, and one man believed wholeheartedly God would protect him, and that guy got out of the war with injuries. They even say without a scratch. Yeah. I mean, it is interesting. And, it's like, I don't know, but that most of the war heroes, I mean, a lot of the hero, and there were a lot of heroes that no one will ever know. I mean, somebody was able to actually document that, and think about how many people did heroic things. When my dad came back from the military, and he would talk about, people who did these amazing things that no one would ever know about. No one wrote their story. No one noticed when, they, jumped on a hand grenade to save their entire company, to save the men. It's like a band of brothers. And yeah, and there were a lot of people, and, some that went ahead and, based on their faith, it was the same argue as wars now. It's not our battle, and that's the thing is once something starts up, and keep in mind that, the United States was still fatigued after World War One. And even though, it wasn't something that we were as involved in, because it was mostly like, in Europe and all of that. But, and in military conflicts, people were tired of it. They were honestly here in the States, they were tired of it. They didn't want to be in another situation like that. I mean, because war takes a major toll on the entire nation. Everybody has to sacrifice and, you know, living on bases and living military life and knowing that, when you saw, because, we'd be out playing, we lived on base, we'd be out playing, and then suddenly you see a Jeep come by and, the commanding officer and the chaplain and, I mean, depending on the faith of the person, if it was a Jewish family, they would have a rabbi. But, when they came, we'd see them heading down the street and we'd all stop playing because it was like, whose house are they going to stop at? Whose house? And it was almost like, when the Jeep passed your house, it was like, okay, but it always stopped in front of somebody's house. And, then they would kind of just stay there until their mom called them over. And so, yeah, but the thing is, that was just a fact of life. And the reality of it is anybody sane does not want war, in my view, based on the fact that I was one of the ones who had to stay home and wait and wonder if my dad was coming home. And it was rough, and it took its toll on a lot of people. And I mean, granted, we learn a lot through that kind of situation. It is very there's a lot of kind of a romanticizing sometimes, because a lot of the movies, it really wasn't until like Apocalypse Now that was the first real movie that took people into the reality of how horrific war actually was. And I mean, they didn't romanticize anything at all. And military people said that that was a very, Full Metal Jacket, which was another one that stripped away all the romantic ideas of, honor and heroes and all that kind of stuff. And it was an interesting time. It was interesting to be, a close spectator in that world, because all I wanted was to know that my dad was coming home. And I could see the toll that it took on my mom. So, it really is avoidance of war. I do not see as a bad thing because technically any sane person would want to avoid that. Now, is there a sense of duty? Because growing up military meant that I also knew there was a sense of duty that, the people who went had. And, and I mean, greater minds than mine, have discussed and debated and all of that stuff, the whole idea. And my generation really hoped that there wouldn't be any more war by the time that we I mean, by the year 2000. We were growing up, we were thoroughly convinced. It's like, well, by the time we have the year 2000, there won't be any war, there won't be any hunger, there won't be any poverty, there won't be any racism, there won't be any, cultural judgment, there won't be anybody who is made to feel like less. And okay, so it didn't quite happen yet. I'm still optimistic that at some point it can. And it really is, that it was a say right there, any American or allies to die in war is a war hero. Yep. And there's a lot of layers to that. I will say that I wished we could have been in the crowd for the last three songs, because with as close as we were, I would have been able to catch some of the confetti that went off in the last song. Yes. But what matters is that I was able to be there to help 13 Baby Bear 13 get through her anxiety. That is wonderful. So that is just a materialistic thing. Well, and that's okay to go, "Oh, well, I wish that would have been," because and the thing is, it's not it's not necessarily materialistic. It was a part of a memory that maybe would have been cool to have that little tangible part of the memory. But, I'm very proud of you. I mean, 13 Baby Bear 13 is a hero, and so are you. You are heroes because sometimes the greatest battles that we have to stand up against are not only when we are facing a huge fear within ourselves, and when we stand by someone else, we set aside our own desires, our own need, and be able to be there for someone who needs us. I mean, hey, that's hero. That is major hero. Ah, but yeah, I know what you mean. But, and she is a champ. She's an absolute champ. Because as it was building and she held out as long as she could, and that's so cool. Doc, anyone saying does not want war. Me. Well, Doc, I agree to a point, but I heard of people who go to war and never stop wanting it because it's all they knew alongside the fear being replaced that can hit hard for some people. That is absolutely true, Fire Nutter. And, it is like post-traumatic stress disorder, which when I was young, they just called it shell shock, get over it. You know, they would leave the military, but the thing is, the things that the military ingrained in them were not okay for society, especially those who had been to places like Vietnam and, in the Philippines and, later Afghanistan and things like that. There's a certain mentality that you have to be trained with. And a part of that is, the willingness to act against another human being and not see them as a human being because you cannot see them as a human being. I knew somebody who was a sniper, and he said that they just drilled into them. These are not people, they are targets. And that's the only thing that you can think about because you can't hesitate. And when you have that ingrained in you, and then they just lift you up, pop you in the middle of a mall or it's like, no, because you've got these instincts that are now a part of you, and everything is about threat levels and noises and sudden movements around you. When you are trained to react in a particular way to it, and the way that you were trained to respond is not acceptable in society. And that was something that, especially, during the 60s and early 70s, they would just send people home and go, well, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. And they weren't fine, not by a long shot. And I am very happy that now there is more recognition of that. I would love to see more support for those in that situation, but at least it's being recognized now. So, I do appreciate that. Ba, 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 ba. Most people had a sense of duty after Pearl Harbor and after 9/11. Yeah. And the thing is that it came at completely dehumanizing an entire ethnic group and any that looked like them, and that dehumanizing piece that is a required part of the military. You cannot see people as humans. You cannot see the enemy as human. And yeah, it was sad how many people were, like murdered, and young people who were dragged out, and people who were dragged out of their homes, put on trains, and train boxcars and taken to camps where they spent years behind barbed wire. Sound a little familiar? Starving. being mistreated, being treated as enemies, and how many of them, like for the Japanese internment, there were Japanese soldiers who were serving in the American army. They were fighting Japan. They were here as Americans fighting, and their parents had been placed into internment camps. That's rough. That was rough. And all of these sections of history are there for us to learn from. They're the types of things that the future generations can learn from. And that's a part of why I'm very optimistic about the future, because the young people now realize that, well, it's so much harder to dehumanize an entire race or an entire ethnic group when you've played video games with them. And when you are sitting in a movie theater watching your favorite Marvel or DC movie, and there's people from all over the place who are all in the same place cheering. And there's more exposure to different cultures and, different belief systems and all of that. And these young people are learning we're not so different because we all like certain video games. We all argue console versus computer. And I think that's very cool that there is this blending that is going on. And I think it will be a lot harder to try to get them to surrender their idea of someone else's humanity. So, I mean, I think that it's going to move in a very good direction. Also, is it materialistic if you're attached to the experience of having something rather than the physical item itself? Red X I come. Hello, sweetheart. How are you? How are you doing? I sincerely want to know how you're doing. She announced last night that she was the first artist ever to sell out the amphitheater we were in last night, and the one she will be at tonight in Nashville. Oh, I spent time in Nashville. She sold 14,300 tickets between the two shows. Well, good for her. Oh my goodness. And that is neat because having an opportunity to just focus on something positive, to be in there with, thousands and thousands of people, all of whom have the same passion in that moment. Everybody is on the same frequency. Nobody cares about anything that came before that or will come after that, because in that moment, everybody is one. Everybody is joined. Everybody is someone who, it's like you look at each other and everybody screaming and everybody has no voice, the next day or by the end of the concert, everybody is talking like this because you've been screaming the whole time. And that's what binds us, those moments where we realize that we're very much alike. I'm all right. Bit of schizophrenia last night, monthly dose of crazies, but I'm better now. Well, I'm very glad that you're feeling better, sweetie. And that was a moment. It was an event, it was a snapshot, and that you moved through it because of course you did, because of course that's what you do, because you're amazing. It's not a matter of going there. It's okay to go there, but just don't let me catch you staring. Don't set up a campsite or build a condo and, lay down foundation and decide you're going to stay there. That is so cool that you moved through it. You never lost your ability to choose. And yeah, biochemical stuff, when that kicks in, that is, and people, a lot of times people just don't have the presence of mind to understand that when brain chemistry kicks in a particular way, there is no choice. It's not like you can choose to do something else. Brain chemistry is brain chemistry. And the only thing a person can do is wait until that wave, that burst of adrenaline and all of that other stuff that kicks in, that drives us into fight, flight, or freeze. And until those levels drop in the system, in the brain, that is not a place of choice. And, it's like when there was a young boy, like, the route before I had the last route. And when if his anger reached a certain level, I mean, he was no longer in control. It was about trying to help him de-escalate. But, oh, well, he's cursing, he's screaming, he's yelling. I said, "Yeah, but, you look in his eyes and I saw terror. I saw how afraid he was. I saw that he was not in control of what was coming out of his mouth in that moment. He was like a poor little cornered animal." And by just talking to him calmly, it's like, and telling him, it's like, "Sweetie, you can do this. I am so sorry that this escalated, but you can do this. I know you can. You can choose, but we have to let that kind of come down a little bit." And I had to help him feel safe enough to where conscious thought could start to override that. But, and for those who experience, biochemical reactions for whatever reason, it could be the result of a traumatic brain injury, it could be the result of a chemical imbalance that they were born with. It could have been from, damage due to an illness. So, there's so many reasons why people become reactive in a particular way. And if it's a situation where somebody has a condition, you can't just say, well, I mean, it's sort of like when my younger brother was young, he had consistent asthma attacks. And the thing that drove him crazy was people would come up to him and say, breathe more slowly. And here he is gasping for breath and thinking to himself, if I could breathe more slowly, because he had to go and get shots every week for it. If I could breathe more slowly, don't you think I would? Going to somebody who's still at level 10 and telling them to calm down. No, 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 no. Calm down. Maybe the goal is to go from 10 to, like, well, first the goal is to stay at 10 and not go to 11. And then it's to go to like 9.8 or 9.9, then maybe 9.5, 9.2, 9. It's not about immediately calming somebody down, because in many cases when somebody is experiencing something and someone else wants them to change or stop the behavior, that person is doing it more for themselves because they can't deal with the situation. It's like somebody who is in tremendous grief, or somebody who is sobbing, and people try to get them to stop crying. It's like, why are you trying to get them to stop crying? They need to. That's where they're at in this moment. If somebody is in a rage moment, telling them to calm down and not be so angry makes absolutely no sense to me. Be in that space with them, and eventually things will calm down, because the chemistry levels are going to decline. And just giving somebody a safe place to, be able to kind of work that out. So, the brain is an amazing thing, and we don't even know what all of it does. The drinking exacerbates it, trying to quit currently. You know what? It's so good that you can identify the things that impact it. Cornered is the word for it, and I drink thinking it will help, but it pushes me over the top. Well, yeah. And if that's the best tool that you know to reach for, and the brain decides, it's like, okay, I need that. I mean, in my case, it was, eating an entire bucket of chicken, which I did during the points where my food addiction was it was the only place I knew to go. And even though it was affecting me and it was making life very difficult and my health was absolutely suffering, I would still, I mean, and I would eat until it was painful. I would eat, it would be, my stomach would hurt, but I'd keep eating. As long as there was some there, I would keep eating it. And there was a part of me that knew it wasn't going to make me feel better, but that wasn't the part that was in charge in that moment. There's that point where the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. And, you know, it- different types of addictions, each one is unique. And there are certain things that are consistent that in that moment, it's the best you know. And for me, it was food. Let's see. Uh, I'm just still stuck on the concept of a person being perceived as materialistic when perhaps it's the experience as to the physical object, because I feel there can be a distinction where the attachment is to the experience as to the physical item. And I think that bothers me a little when people don't see the difference. They just see, oh, they really like those things a bit more than others might. Yeah, it's about the story we attach to something. I figured a good to hone opinion be nice here. Yeah, it is about Jay. Hey, you still have a, a food edition to spicy and weird shiza. I'm saying shiza. But yes, and everybody, welcome in the amazing, the inimitable, the absolutely awesome Jay Stun Z, my moderator, supreme, the king of New York, the reigning monarch of Staten Island, and I will hear no argument to the opposite, who is my OBJ Stun Zobi in all things computer and driving the school bus and learning about different types of foods and panels and who teaches me all kinds of Italian words for food that I really don't understand, but that's okay. Let's see. Honest Englishing. The doc is back in town. Do, 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 do. Yes. And well, the doc is back in town for my lunch hour. See, I decided that I would do a thing for lunch hour, even though it was only an hour. All right, Doc, I bring you a situation I'm dealing with a friend. Long story short, she's been streaming for 6 years and is discouraged and wants to quit. How do I go about assisting this individual? She's also dealing with feelings from a personal loss. Oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know the full details of time since and so forth, but regardless, guidance from your glorious wall of wisdom is always appreciated. Well, first off, my dear Venomous, never underestimate your own wisdom. And and honestly, there's a lot of people, and there have been some streamers that I've known of that, I got to know personally that were everything that anybody would want. I mean, like 1,000 people in their streams at a time, people throwing subs at them like crazy. But there's something that it starts to chip away that thing that they're trying to hold on to, especially just chatting. Just chatting, I think, is probably one of the most stressful things, because it's like, especially for those who think, oh, we always have to be up and all this and and all of that. And frankly, it takes way too much energy, and I'm not up all the time. I take things a little bit easier just because I have fewer attachments. But yeah, and your friend, it sounds like she's going through a point of transformation. And often, just as we are transforming, that's when we feel the most disjointed. Things get confusing, things get overwhelming, and that's when we're right on the edge of leveling up. And she may be experiencing this. There may be something that is calling to her that she's not quite ready to step up for. So I would say that, and especially if she's going through a personal loss, she's grieving. And that's the thing. When something major happens, the world you knew is gone. And you stand on the edge of all that blank space. with the task of building a new one. And depending on what type of personal loss that was, that's how fully you have to rebuild that world, because you have to rebuild your world integrating that experience as a part of it that you can find peace with. And it may be that, she's got some grieving to do, and maybe she needs to step back depending on what type of streamer she is. She may need to go into a place of self-care, and that's not a bad thing, because what in closing time, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. And yeah, there will come a point when the doc is, I mean, I in the for the foreseeable future, I do not see a point when I will stop streaming. And I don't know what's coming down the pike. I don't know what life has for me, and depending on what's going on, I might have to step away in order to take care of myself. What I would suggest would be, my wisdom comes on the blood, sweat, and tears of the greats before me. You know what? You got your own blood, sweat, and tears, my dear. While I do not want her to quit, I also want to assist her in finding the answers to her own questions. And if the platform no longer fulfills the need she needs to do what's best for her. Yeah, and it may be just for a certain amount of time as she goes through her healing. And I would say the greatest suggestion I could give is to look her dead in the eye and with every ounce of honesty, tell her she can't get this wrong. There is no way that she will get this wrong. As long as she's authentic within herself, maybe there's some things that she needs to sit down and have a think about. Maybe she needs to look at where she is and figure out where she wants to be, because, where we want to be changes based on every single life experience we have. Something could come. I mean, for me, all I wanted to be was a chiropractor. I didn't want to be anything else. And then a random set of circumstances ended me up on a stage in New York. And when I stepped on that stage, I realized that that's what I wanted more than anything else. And yes, there were a lot of people who did not want me to leave practice. They did not want me to leave California. But as the saying goes, there was no way I was going to see the amazing miracles on a distant shore if I had never left my own. If I wasn't willing to leave that safe harbor, if I wasn't willing to leave my mountain, and letting your friend know that she has her answer inside of her, and the right questions will come. And just sitting in that quiet place with her so that she knows that no matter what, she's not alone. And she is free to figure out what it is she wants to do, where she wants to go, what will make her happy. What does she feel is that next step? Because my feeling, just from what you're describing, is that she is on the edge of something amazing. And I know it's hard to see when somebody, seems to be kind of suffering, because I went through that, because there was a part of my decision to come to New York that in a way there was a lot of suffering. But she knows what she's doing. She may not realize it yet. But tell her to listen to that voice. And if she doesn't know what to do, that is her wisdom saying, don't do anything. Go to a park and ride on a swing. Go watch some silly movie just because it makes you laugh. Lay down in the grass, look up and see what shapes you think the clouds are in. And sometimes when we step back from that and are able to go, you know what? I can't get this wrong. No matter what, I'm going to be okay. Those are the things that, tell us when we're on the right path. Being on the right path does not mean it's easy or that it's calm or, the right path can be filled with fear, but that's okay because there's something amazing on the other side of it. And for her, it's going to be healing. It's going to be discovering that new world that she gets to create, bringing in the pieces that she wants there, and maybe letting go of some of the pieces that don't serve her anymore. And it can be tough letting go of those pieces because even if it doesn't quite serve you, it's what's familiar. But she's going to be just fine. She's not broken. She has the wisdom within herself to figure it out, and she will. And maybe it means stepping back from streaming for a while, or maybe it means stepping away from streaming for good. But whatever it is, it's going to, whatever shifts, it makes room for something amazing. And I know that she has it within her to find that amazing thing because it's time. This is her moment. It's time to level up. And as scary as that can be, as disorienting as that can be, as much as that can make us want to crawl, into our beds and pull the blankets over our heads, she's going to be just fine. And I don't say things I don't mean. And especially with a wonderful, amazing friend like you who can hold that space for her as she decides what it is she wants to turn it into. Fully agree. I know you have to go, Doc, but save this for later if need be. One of the problems I have is I don't currently like touching being touched, and I am constantly lifting my mom because of ALS. Appreciate you 1 billion. And in fact, you can clip out that whole section and send it to her. Hi, friend. But you know what, Red, that is, I am so glad that you bring that up. It's like, okay, we're going to go a little over because this is really important. And the idea that that physical experience is there, and I totally get it. And my recommendation would be, there are these like strap things that help people lift people. And it may be that if you can redefine, it's like, okay, so, helping your mom, all right, that needs to happen. What are the things that can help you be in balance when you're doing it? I knew one person that um they would put on headphones and they would play, a particular type of music. And, for them, it was like, the good old heavy metal, hard rock, Metallica type stuff. And they would take that and they'd turn it up while they were doing something. Because what that would do is it would like redirect the brain. Doing things like, if you're lifting, there are like, the big thick gloves that, can sort of, limit the physical contact, the skin on skin contact. So if figuring out, it's like, okay, if it's the skin on skin, what can become a barrier that will still allow you to do the things that you need to do? Or what is a way that your your brain could be sort of distracted while that's going on? And I am so proud of you because there's a lot of people who just wouldn't help because that's difficult. And see, that's why I know you're going to be just fine. I do know that, sweetheart, because there is so much. You are up to your eyeballs in amazing. You really are. And I am so proud of you. So, but yeah, I would say that either something that deadens, that takes away that skin to skin contact, that creates kind of a barrier, or maybe, even taking a blanket, putting it over your arm, and, like having something that can kind of, brace in front of you. And so if you're lifting, that there's something. I've been wearing gloves lately. Yeah. That is very cool. And, I mean, there's a part of me that is like almost like, in like dog trainers, they have dog trainers who have like the big padded things around them. Something like that might help out a bit. But yeah, consider like, a particular type of music that you can put headphones on and hear, that it, kind of redirects your brain. New art commission for my rats. Yes! Show and tell. We will go to show and tell. Oh my goodness. Look at that on the beach. Also, self-hypnosis might be able to, doing like certain self-hypnosis type of things, and, and, maybe even seeing a hypnotist. There's a lot of people who benefit greatly from hypnosis. And it's not like, when you hear a bell ring, you're going to cluck like a chicken. That is so cute. Oh, that is so sweet. So, there is, it's all about figuring out, there is a solution to this. There's absolutely 100% a solution to this. It's just a matter of figuring out what it is and what works best for you. And like I said, taking one blanket, kind of draping it, like crossing it across the front, blanket around one arm, or you can even tape it so that it's like kind of an arm brace thing to lift up. But you've got this, Red. You are so amazing. You have come so far. You can do this. I know you can. And I would not say that to you if I didn't know it. I'm an old lady who used to live in a cabin in the woods on a mountain surrounded by trees next to a river with a black cat. We know stuff. And on that note, time. Thank you, Jay. All righty, everyone. Please, please, please have a wonderful, lovely day. We will see you back again tomorrow. Oh, and Jay, it turns out that I've got a rehearsal tonight. Joe called me, so I will be home late. Anyway, everybody, please have a wonderful rest of your day. And always remember that you are the only you in all the universe. You're the only you that's ever been and the only you that will ever be. And what that does is it makes you special, it makes you sacred, and most of all, makes you necessary. Because as the only you in all of the universe wouldn't be the same or complete without you. So and Venomous, tell your friend that too, the whole you are the only you in all the universe thing. Anyway, everybody have an amazing morning, afternoon, evening, or night. May you walk gently with the world. May the world walk gently with you. And as always, I wish you balance and I wish you blessings from my heart to yours. So have a good day, learn something new. I am proud of you and I love you. Okay, take care. We will see you tomorrow, everybody. Bye.
Emerald Queen, where the gamers unite.